Hi and welcome to today's video. I'm going to be comparing two wheel shampoos. So we've got the high definition detail breakthrough wheel shampoo. We've also got the Garage Therapy one wheel shampoo. So as a full kind of disclaimer, Garage Therapy did send me their wheel shampoo. I have since purchased my own bottle of this. And as always, I'm going to be honest about my opinions as we go through this video. And really, this video isn't particularly opinion based. I'm going to be using the products side by side and compare them as closely as possible so you can see which one looks best to you. So starting off by seeing what the experience is like when using these products in the bucket. So I've got 18 litres of water for both these two here, and I'm using a recommended dilution ratio on the kind of lower end of the scale. So for the Garage Therapy, we've got 20ml, and then for high definition detail, they recommend around 25ml as the lowest kind of dilution here, which does actually work out as the same price, so I thought it would be a pretty fair comparison to make between these products. You can see the prices on the screen now. So of course I blasted them with my pressure washer to see what kind of foam we were getting here, and it was a very similar kind of experience with both of them at this stage. Both pretty foamy, so looking pretty good to start the wash process with. Obviously you can see me here comparing them. There really wasn't much difference in terms of the consistency of the foam here. They did look very, very similar. So we'll start off with the Garage Therapy wheel shampoo. So of course I used 20ml in this 18 litre bucket, and I'm going to show you the experience using it with one of these noodle mitts and a couple of brushes as we go through cleaning different areas of the wheel. So you can see with these noodle mitts, they do carry a decent amount of suds, but to be honest, in comparison to microfiber mitts, they never really hold the suds quite as well, and they do kill them a little bit. However, you can see the experience was pretty good here. Of course I had to wring out the mitt and rinse it in my rinse bucket, but generally I was making it through most of the wheel without having to kind of get any more suds on there. With the brush, using the bucket, the suds don't tend to last quite as long. Now moving on to the wheel barrels. So for this I've got a fairly new brush here. So this is a Mammoth wheel wand, I think it's called. So this is a wool style one, and it does hold suds pretty well. You can see it doing a decent job here, but of course I did need to rinse it out and go back into the bucket to pick up some more of those suds. So generally as an experience with using this one in a bucket, it works well. The suds seem to last pretty well throughout the process. Of course the tools you're using are going to impact this. Realistically here, using that brush and the noodle mitt aren't really the best tools in terms of keeping the suds, but they do a decent job. Now you can see me moving on to the tyres with this hog's-hair brush, and I really don't enjoy cleaning tyres with this method of getting suds from the bucket. I prefer to use an IK foamer, and I'm going to show you that in a decent amount of detail after we've been through the breakthrough experience in the wheel bucket. You can see here the suds don't particularly do well using this hog's hair brush on tyres, but they did clean them up quite well, and afterwards the wheels look perfectly clean, and I'll go through some more detail on the cleaning power of both these products a little bit later on. So now moving on to breakthrough, and of course we had 25ml of this product in the wheel bucket as opposed to the 20ml of the Garage Therapy one. This works out as the same cost per wash. For both of these products you can go higher with that dilution ratio, however my wheels are pretty well maintained, so going on that lower end of the spectrum seems to fit with what I want to use them for and keeps that value for money there as well. So you can see here with the noodle mitt, I'm getting a pretty similar experience, having to dip the mitt back into the bucket a few times just to collect some more suds and clean off the mitt, but generally doing quite well. When using the brush, it seemed to not be quite as sudsy here. Of course, there's going to be a little bit of variation with how much suds I actually pick up on the brush. I've tried to keep it as consistent as possible, but I still got a decent amount on there, but I would have liked it, of course, if the brush held the suds a bit more, and I think using an IK foamer definitely helps with that. And that is really my preferred way of using both these products. Again, with this wheel wand here, you can see I can collect a decent amount of suds here, and it seems to hold the stability quite well throughout cleaning this wheel. So of course sped up the footage here so you're not sat here watching this process all day. But in terms of using both these products in a bucket, I reckon you could dial up the dilution ratio a little bit more to get a really kind of sudsy experience if that's what you're looking for. But realistically, you can get a decent amount of cleaning power and experience with both these. They also both feel quite lubricated on the wheels, so if you're concerned about using them on black gloss wheels and things like that, I think these are quite a safe option. And you can see here I'm having the same problem using that hog's hair brush on the tyres. So one thing I did want to measure as well was the stability in the bucket. So you can see what it looks like here after 10 minutes. There's a little bit less suds in high definition detail one at this stage. After 30 minutes you can definitely see that the high definition detail one was dying, and after 60 minutes there was no suds left. As a comparison between 10 and 60 minutes for the high definition detail, you can obviously see that the suds did die throughout that process. The Irish Therapy one, they did a tiny bit, it wasn't quite as fluffy looking in the bucket, but the suds generally did stay pretty consistent. So now onto my preferred method of using both these products, and that is to use them in an IK foamer. The high definition detail one is £2 cheaper than the Garage Therapy one, so realistically you can obviously use a little bit more and still get that cost per wash the same. But I just wanted to try them both at 10ml just to see what kind of experience we got. With the Garage Therapy one, 10ml into 500ml of water is what I normally go for. So I thought it'd be interesting to see how the high definition detail stacked up at this ratio, despite being a little bit cheaper. So when I foamed up the wheels, you can see that 10ml into 500ml of the Garage Therapy one foams up very, very nicely. Definitely don't need it any thicker than this and probably could get away with even less. But I've sped up kind of dwell time here, and this was 1.5 minutes of the product dwelling. And you can see that the product does stay on there quite well. So I rinsed the wheel off and then decided to show you the process with the Brakethrough shampoo. So of course here we're going for 10ml into 500ml of water, and you can see that the foam is definitely thinner. I was expecting this given the fact that it is cheaper per mil, but you can see that it is a lot thinner here. I've sped up the footage again, so this is 1.5 minutes of dwell time. So here is just a comparison after 2 minutes of having these products on here. I took a photo and you can see what kind of dwell time we've got here. So I decided to up the concentration of the Brakethrough wheel shampoo. So this is 15ml into 500ml of water. So it's overtaking in terms of cost per wash here. It's more expensive than the Garage Therapy one here. The foam is not quite as thick still versus the 10ml of the Garage Therapy one, but we're getting a similar kind of experience here. And into 500ml of water, this is what I would prefer to use for both these products. I also wanted to talk about the cleaning capability of both products. So you can see the wheel that I'm working on here, and there's a reasonable build-up of brake dust. So I pressure washed it off, and a lot of the brake dust did come off, and that's pretty typical of most wheels, to be honest. These wheels aren't coated or anything, there's no protection on there, but generally the brake dust does tend to come off reasonably easier, but there's some obviously left on there that a product is going to have to deal with. So I'll show you the process for both products here, and I'm using the dilutions I used previously, so 500ml of water and then 10ml of the Garage Therapy and 15ml of the Brakethrough. Now for both these products I would consider them more maintenance products. They do actually have very good cleaning capability. The only thing I'd say that these products can't deal with is really, really baked on brake dust. Now I'm talking the stuff that's been on there for, you know, like a year, things like that. The stuff that you need an acidic wheel cleaner to deal with, and from experience I've tried these products versus strong alkaline cleaners and they don't really seem to be much different. So whilst the wheel shampoos feel like a very safe option, and they are, I don't think you get a compromise in terms of cleaning ability, and that's the case with both these products. I've sped this all up and I'm going to show you the photos afterwards, but personally don't think there's, in practical sense anyway, a massive difference in cleaning ability. I think that both these products are capable of cleaning wheels that you wouldn't require an acidic wheel cleaner to clean. So another thing that I also wanted to look at was how the foam thickness compared when the products are actually stored in an IK foamer overnight. So this is something I've decided to test because when I've used the Garage Therapy one and mixed it up the day before, the foam is a lot thinner when you use it the day after. So Garage Therapy have commented on this on one of my videos and said that the reason is because the surfactants actually attack the minerals in the water. So I did want to see whether that was something that happened with the high definition detail one as well. So I'll mix them both up at the 10ml and the 15ml for the Garage Therapy and the high definition detail respectively, so we could compare the kind of foam thickness we got 24 hours later. So here you can see the Garage Therapy one, same as what usually happens for me at least, is that the foam is thinner the following day. So now onto the high definition detail shampoo, and you can see here that the foam thickness is still actually pretty good, and I'll show you some sort of photos of what it looked like when mixed on the day versus the day before. And I really couldn't notice much of a difference with the high definition detail one. I think there was a relatively similar experience. So I thought that was quite an interesting result. Probably need to get a life, but I did think that that was quite an interesting difference between the two products. So I'd be very interested to hear your thoughts on these products. Have you tried either or both of them, and what kind of experience you've had? I personally lean towards the Garage Therapy one a little bit more as my favourite, but I still think the high definition detail one is a very good product. I do think that they're both very capable at what they're intended to do. So if you have enjoyed this video, it would be fantastic if you could drop it a like. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.